G'day, I'm Miko. I've been a builder of Voron and other printers for the last 3 or 4 years, and I've noticed all around the traps on Discord channels and Reddit and such that people are asking how to put together Hartk's Anthead toolhead. So I thought I'd just throw together a little video for it. I have pre-installed the brass heat inserts into the components, but apart from that, we're going to be putting it on Hartk's 2020 carriage, which I've mounted here to a Pandora's box. Pandora's box is a Voron V0 derivative done by the Printers for Ants crew. So from there we'll get at it and get this toolhead on. Thanks. Right, to start with, we're going to install the hot end and its carrier. Our hot end has been pre-installed. It's a Dragon High Flow. I've also pre-installed the 2510 5-volt Delta fan on the front. So that's our configuration. That's been installed with a couple of M3 by 12 button head cap screws. It is important to use the button heads because it does not have clearance for socket head cap screws. So we'll start with this installs onto the carriage in this scenario with a pair of M3 by 30 socket head cap screws. Simply place the screws into the hole, screw them in. The Anthead design is very nice because it's very modular. Whilst it does take a bit to get it apart, if you have a problem with the hot end, it comes apart very, very easily and quickly. One of the benefits to this design is it's very compact and reasonably lightweight to boot. The next step is installing the front cowl section. I've gone with a little hex style insert in the front to make it look nice. That's just been simply pressed in the place at the back, clips in with no hardware. We have our little Voron logo with its little carrier, and we have an LED, a NeoPixel, common amongst the Voron builds. So we'll little carrier just presses into place. It's always important to get your tolerances right. Definitely recommend the cauliflower by Vector 3D. I'll link that below as well. Great way to get your printers all calibrated up and printing accurately. And this one's going to be a bugger. That's all installed in place now. This is where we insert the LED carrier. It's important to get the wires facing towards the top of the piece. Slide them into there. And we've got a nice little channel here to run our wiring in. I like to have at least one NeoPixel on most of my tool heads, as I use macros in Clipper to change the colour of the LEDs depending on what the printer's actually doing at the given point in time. So to install this, very simple. I'm going to run our 3 wires for our fan here through the side, so they're out of the way. And you simply says, when the wires aren't all caught up. Get these wires out of the way. Simply slides into position. And that is actually secured to the hot end carriage with a pair of M3 by 6 button head screws. I'll just rotate this around to the side. Just down here, place your screw in. And do him up snug. Particularly with moving parts, anything that's metal on metal, I do recommend using blue Loctite. The blue Loctite's a medium strength, so it means you're going to be able to get it undone. However, these things thrash around a fair bit. And they can rattle loose. Leaves the wires out the front, these around the side. Leaves a nice faceplate on it and somewhere to attach the fans. The next step is we're going to install our 4010 fans in their fan shrouds. Pre-installed a heat insert into the back. Now with these 4010 fans, usually they come with a faceplate on here. In this instance we actually remove them. Most fans will use the standard ducts. Honey Badger fans are slightly thicker and you'll need to print the HB92 ducts, which are just slightly different to allow them to be used in this configuration. Once they're installed, or once they're defaced, we slide these in to position. So your actual duct takes up that position of the faceplate. I've pre-assembled these. We're going to clip this on the underside, making sure to get all the wiring in the little channels. This can be a little bit awkward, but once done, well worth it. I will say that when you're not trying to do this facing backwards, it's much easier. We use a pair of M3 by 8 socket head cap screws and these little side holes here. So that clip piece holds that on the bottom, those two hold it on the top. And that's also going to get an extra screw in the back to make sure that it's not going to move at all as well. But we do that later in the assembly. And through the magic of editing, we're going to have two. Okay, so they're installed. There are two extra screws that you would use to attach these fan shrouds. It doesn't apply to all tool heads, to all carriages, but right in the back here, they go through the back into a brass heat insert that we had installed in there. I'm using like M3 by 25 button head screws for the sake of low profile. And I'll show you, you'll be able to see a bit more this way, I hope. I find the easiest way is just to turn it to the side, pop it in, hole. up tight. It's one of the reasons this tool head is so secure, so rigid, and will give you better input shaping graphs than some of the other tool heads available about the place. Swing around so you can see. Now that that's all done, the next step is to install your extruder. A multitude of extruders can be used on this tool head. The two core ones that we're seeing are the wristwatch G2, which Hartk has a modified version on specifically for this tool head, and a modified version of the wristwatch BMG, which is what I've done. Very simple to build, very simple extruder, quite well balanced, very easy to assemble, and they make a lot of torque. I've had amazing success with them. They're essentially a slight variation on the Sherpa Mini as well, that fundamental design principle and extrude aught. I've gone with this for aesthetics on this occasion. So these are the wristwatch G2 and the wristwatch BMG attached with 3 screws, one on each side there, and one that comes in through the back of the tool head into that, through that plate there, making it really secure. Very simple to install. Install your pre-cut PTFE tube. I really strongly recommend a good quality 4mm outer diameter, 2mm inner diameter. Is very constrained. That way you're not going to have issues with filament hunting between the extruder and the hot end. Simply place him down there. When he decides to go in, get your wiring in the right location so it's not getting pinched. Another couple of M3 socket heads. Pop them in the side there. Now these can be a little bit fiddly. A lot of you out there will have, I don't like using ball head hex drivers where possible, but this might be a scenario that you do use them. Found myself my trusty ball head 2.5. As I said, you only use these when you're in these situations, otherwise you can strip out the screw. I find myself not using them terribly often, but when you do need them, you need them. So if you get them, often they'll be given out with kits. Hang on to them, they're bloody good. I tend to use these style hex drivers. You can get them for about $10, $15 on Amazon. They're absolutely fantastic. Much easier on your hands than, and as opposed to trying to construct an entire printer out of one of these. With one of these, sorry. Pop the other one in there. And now for the final one, hopefully you can see that. The final screw goes down there, so it goes through there into a brass heat insert that's in there, locking that extruder in place. Just try and get him in there. This one can be a little fiddly. It's a lot of extruders just connect with the 2 screws straight down through the top. I do like the extra security in this. Is it critical? No. But it is nice to have the extra security. And it does add to the solidity of the entire tool head. There we go, starting to nip up now. There we go. So that is your Anthead tool head installed. Take it off, it is simply the reverse. Modularity makes it quite easy, so you don't have to take everything off if you want to just change a couple of fans on it. If you do want to get to the hot end, it's a little bit more work, but it is very rigid, which helps immensely with input shaper graphs. So you'll find that you'll be able to run a little higher on your accelerations and on your speeds with this thing, as long as the rest of the motion system is up to must. Well, there you have it. Anthead installed on your printer. Fantastic tool head. Hartk is a fantastic designer. He's just one of us out there in the open source community coming out with these amazing designs. Really recommend that you try it. Very rigid tool head, so you should be getting great input shaper results and that sort of thing. A pair of 4010 fans, so it should be great cooling. Would happily be printing PLA with this sort of thing. I tend to do a lot of ABS and ASA and that sort of thing, but absolutely fantastic tool head, and I'm using on quite a number of my printers. If you've got any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and have a good one.